Hey there, everybody. This is Ryu from Streets.
Trailers. Advertisements. Sponsors. Commercials. What are these made for? To excite the general public and get them to spend their hard-earned bucks on your product. We've all seen commercials that tend to stick with us through the years. Some are memorable for their uniqueness, creativity, or how extremely exciting they are, and others are memorable for how bad they are.
Whoshi! It's a double Yoshi explosion!
But just about 13 years ago, oh dear God, I saw trailers that absolutely rocked my world. It took a concept that I had interest in and turned it into something that I was hyped beyond repair for. That is the dope Street Fighter X Tekken cinematic trailers.
He said it!
It's really tough to try and put into words the feelings of nostalgic hype. As a kid, you don't necessarily know why you're attracted to the things you are. You just know when you like something and when you don't. And spoiler alert, I like Tekken. I also enjoy Street Fighter, more so as a piece of gaming history rather than a fan of the franchise, although they do have peak female design. From April of 2011 to February of 2012, Capcom released 6 cinematic trailers hyping the release of what seemed like one of the biggest crossovers in fighting game history. Shout out to classic Marvel v Capcom and MK vs DC. But with so many fans of Street Fighter respecting the legacy of Tekken and vice versa, the hype was already there. They almost didn't even need to blow the budget on such a big production value. But below that budget, they sure did, and as a kid watching these release, I thought they were so badass. And in this tiny little video essay, I hope to explain why.
Hey, you. Going down to Memphis! Witness my fortune!
Now take it from a former high school theater fight choreographer. Constructing an action sequence to fit with a well-paced narrative is a tricky art, especially if you're dealing with a 2-on-2 fight with all 4 members having different personalities and fighting styles. A mistake often made, especially in some of the Tekken adaptations, is not really utilizing the specific fighting styles of the characters. Most fights in the live-action movie end with mounted punches. Capcom saw that and went, "We don't do that here," and made every single fight look real and used every bit of fan service they could. Each character fights exactly how they do in the games. Seeing Nina's speed, Kazuya's laser face, and Ken's Hadouken was an immediate reassurance that these trailers were gonna be badass. As a pro wrestling fan, I love watching King and Marduk versus Hugo and Poison. This one's a bit more chaotic, and it's here that I noticed they avoid direct male-on-female violence, which is funny, because in the game you can play as Marduk and Ken, 2 men, and choose Chun-Li and Asuka, 2 women, and just beat the 19th Amendment out of them. I mean, they show Nina and Ken keeping up with each other, neither one of them getting the upper hand, and then she just dips living cause with the rest. When Zangief begins to target Julia, the trailer ends, and Poison is never directly seen being hit by Marduk, although it's heavily implied. Jin saw all of this and thought that won't do, and attempted to crush Juri's skull, although that is the only offense he was able to get on her. I mean, I get it, it's an American marketing technique. If you want YouTube and TV outlets to play your trailers, you gotta fall within their guidelines, but it is a fighting game after all. But apart from the fight, something I really enjoyed was the fact that the sets played well in each fight and are used to perfection. A personal favorite set being Marshall's Diner during the Bob v. Rufus fight. It is hilarious what they're able to pull off here. The fight with the girls on the speeding trucks transitioning to the dogs helped make this one of the most entertaining to watch. And it's short, but Xiaoyu and Juri beginning their fight was creative and hit a nerve with me because she used the damn high ground. And it worked!
I have the high ground!
Peak. Also, Xiaoyu v Juri is just a dream match, a wonderful matchup there. I unfortunately don't know much about Street Fighter movesets, but as far as I can tell, they do moves I've seen in the game. But as a Tekken fan, these trailers had me hooked. But it wasn't just the fighting that they got right, it was also... Say what you will about other fighters, very few hold a flame to how great the personalities are in Tekken and Street Fighter. Now, I can't speak heavily on the Street Fighter side as I know so very little of them, but if these trailers are anything to go by, they must be extremely well done. Tekken though, ooh baby, these characters got character, and it is shown so well in these trailers. Starting at the beginning, it seemed to imply that Kazuya was working with Jin to find out what's going on with these unknown invaders, which is such an interesting idea. The second one was actually my introduction to the character Poison, and what an intro it was. I absolutely love this design. It is so good, and it has nothing to do with how horny it makes me. And I know nothing about Rufus, but him confusing Bob for Ken is the funniest thing of all time. And in fact, all of the comedy in this trailer is done just to perfection. I'm often thrown off when 3D animation does gags that normally work with 2D in mind, but they do it so well here. And this shot... This is the craziest shot in animation history. It should win awards, honestly. I do think, however, that the implication of cutting away right as a very turned on Zangief is charging Julia is an odd choice. I would have loved to see her do a bit more, but what can you do? I absolutely love the girls trailer. It is wonderful. The fact that they hide Asuka's face purely for a crowd-popping reveal is hilarious, considering you can see the iconic outfit she wore in her debut game. Asuka also is so badass being able to hold off Cammy and Chun-Li until Lily shows up. Lily does terrifically here as well. It was before they changed her voice actress, so she's still speaking English. And can I just say, this is the most charismatic Lily ever was with an English VA. She didn't do much in Tekken 5 and sounded pretty okay in 6, but here, she is extremely charismatic, has so much energy, and matches the character to perfection with the scene. And she says so little throughout too. It's not the original Joy Jacobson, but apparently Rachel Hirschfield who subbed in for this game until they got Laura Blank for Tekken Tag 2 and onwards. I'm rambling, I know that, sorry. I just really wanted to point out that I do love the new French dialect she's been using for years now, but this game is where English-speaking Lily was best. Also, I've been trying to find out for years, but I have zero clue what she says at this point.
How dare you! I demand your protection immediately!
It sounds like, I demand you, blah, 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 immediately. But I've never known. Also, it ending with a very obvious turn from Lily to Asuka is just truly perfect. I'm sorry, y'all. I really love that feud. And then we get to what is the peak of them all. Jin and Xiaoyu versus M. Bison and Juri. What an absolute showdown. Screw Tony Khan and Triple H. Harada and Ono are the bookers of the century for this one. It starts so ambiguously, with Jin seeing Kazuya's report, the sudden appearance of Bison, Xiaoyu rushing her way up the tower hoping that Jin's okay, Juri absolutely obliterating her, Jin being genuinely worried and angry, them taking advantage of that thinking they have the upper hand, only for Jin to spread his wings and ending with a classic Oh, it's so fucking hype, bro! I can't count how many times I've rewatched this trailer. It is so damn good. I am always a fan of any type of Jin and Xiaoyu content, and the fact that when he saw she was hurt, he put Juri in the goddamn Iron Claw, insane. And Chiba put everything in his soul into that scream, and let me tell you, it was worth every Ricola he likely had to chew on for weeks after recording. Same with Juri when she screams at the same time. It's so bloody good, mate. Character is just everywhere, all over the place in all of these trailers. So what's good with the last one? Who could possibly be the last matchup of fighters from two different franchises to hype up the general audience one last time before release? That would be Akuma versus Ancient Ogre. Now I know I'm often harsh on Akuma in recent years, but this isn't a bad idea. The biggest bad in Street Fighter, I think, and the god of fighting in Tekken. It's not a bad matchup, it's the execution. Nothing really noteworthy happens here. Like, there's some atmosphere and you can tell that the battle they'll have would be apocalyptic, but before anything happens, it cuts to a clip show of all the other really cool trailers, and nothing happens with these two. I mean, for story reasons, I get it, opening Pandora and all that jazz, you don't want to give too much away, but for the last trailer, after the peak that was Jin and Bison, what a deflating way to end the campaign. It's almost like they blew the whole budget on every other trailer that came before it. But that's all just the crazy amount of character that each trailer showcased. We haven't even scratched the surface of what would make them so dope. That would be... Now this is gonna be difficult as we can't really show you any of the music from these trailers as they're all licensed and my grandkids would probably get copyrighted if I played all the tracks, so you're just gonna have to take my word for it that these songs are killer. Now there is some argument that the company should have just relied on the music that the composers are making for the game, and buying the rights for the songs was money spent that wasn't necessarily needed. That is true and fair. However, On the Size by Black Tide is the best song they could have used. It goes so damn hard and doesn't slow down a bit, and neither does the trailer. Holy crap, My Town is a song I listen to when I'm running a mile, pretending that I'm running my way into the wrestling ring. It's so good. In Love With You isn't a huge focus, but when it bangs, it sure does bang. Knock Me Out is such a perfect choice for the girls. It goes so hard, lines up perfectly, and oh man, any of these ladies can for sure knock me out. Yes, sir. And From Heads Unworthy was written to be heard while watching Jin transform to save his girl. When that last chorus hits, as the camera does that huge panning turn, it's so damn good! It's just really good music and how I was introduced to all of these great artists. But that's enough of that. We've talked the choreography, character moments, music. Now let's get into the last reason why I think these trailers are so dope.
Each flavor was totally unique. But combine one flavor with another.
Man, I still have no idea why they went this weird liquidy direction for the trailers. None of the game's cutscenes really do that, but for some weird reason, I love it. Especially in that first trailer when Kaz lifts that Zaibatsu soldier's head to speak with Jin, just seeing the colors and the textures seeping off each other is so damn satisfying. Capcom paid the company Polygon Pictures to make these trailers, and what a choice. They've done an Ape Escape movie, which I didn't even know was a thing, Ghost in the Shell 2, Godzilla animated trilogy, worked on Clone Wars, Care Bears 2, Oopsie fucking does it. Not a bad company is my real point here. When I was in college, I took the set design class, and one of the assignments was to pick a music video and analyze the choices of color palettes, period references, scenery choices, and the personal space of the characters. I didn't choose any of these trailers, I chose the Africa cover by NSP, but my point is, that assignment stuck with me with every music video I've watched since. And all of those elements that make up a good music video narrative are extremely present here in these trailers. The dark and stormy approach with Kaz vs Ryu is wonderful, and check out those devil wings behind him before he laser faces a building to death. Oh, it's so good. The bright neon-esque shades of the wrestling ring is perfect for these characters shown and ties so well with the amount of destruction that the set takes. Seeing the flashes of light being destroyed is such a good choice. It honestly reminds me of early AEW and is likely subconsciously why I enjoyed that 2019 set so much. They get so many amazing full shots. Like there's multiple points throughout each trailer that you could just screenshot and save as a computer screensaver. They're that good. It's also such a good choice that instead of redesigning every character for a new game, both franchises kept the most iconic looks for each character. A brilliant decision that could have ended very differently. And man, when Jin forms his wings this time out of the shattered glass and it embodies an almost angelic feel, it's crazy foreshadowing when you really think about it. Such amazing art direction. Not a lost art by any means, but often underappreciated. If I were to rank each one from worst to best, it'd go Akuma vs Ogre, Bob and Julia vs Rufus and Zangief, King and Marduk vs Poison and Hugo, Asuka and Lily vs Chun-Li and Cam-Li, Kazuya and Nina vs Ryu and Ken, Jin and Xiaoyu vs M. Bison and Juri. It gets really hard with the top three because they're all truly so good, but I'm a selfish boy. A selfish boy who could never seem to leave well enough alone. Whatever the hell that means. And because of this, I wanted to list off a few Dream trailers that I wish was made with Dream song picks, cause why not? I would have loved to see Hwoarang and Steve versus Balrog and Vega to Break Your Little Heart by All Time Low. Tell me you don't want to see that and I'll call you a liar. Also, Paul and Law versus Dawson and Saget to I Don't Care by Fall Out Boy would have been choice. Lastly, Yoshimitsu and Raven versus Guy and Cody to 6 Feet Under by Kiss and Dynamite. Oh man, I hope y'all's imagination is as juicy as mine because listening to these songs while imagining these colorful fights is insane. Oh, I need help. And that is why I love these trailers. I really hope I was able to convey just how dope and exciting they were to me as a kid, because they really were something. Do you remember watching these for the first time? Or do you have trailers that had you hyped beyond control as a kid? Leave them below, I'd love to hear what y'all think. For me though, these had me so excited to play Street Fighter X Tekken and to eventually get the reverse style someday down the road. It all relied on the release and reception of this game. And then the game came out and it sucked!